Make sure I got everything I need. All the pictures are up. The live stream started. We're looking good. We're looking good. We're looking good, people. Let's put that basement debates music back. We'll call this. It's new music, man. It's new music. This is late night hip hop live, people. Is what you're watching. Time for that music. Team Box Cutter. We in the building. Listen, join us on Patreon. Get a shirt like this. You know what I'm saying? Join us on Patreon if you love to see real underground hip hop news talk. Right? Historians, hip hop historians. Team Box Cutter makes beats. Team Box Cutter makes music. But anyway, we're back, people. We're back, man. D-Boy Slim. Matter of fact, check it out, people. I'm gonna pour this little glass because we got a lot to talk about tonight.
Man, what we talking about, Bruce? What we talking about?
Oh man, I was gonna leave it to you, but I'll give him a little something. By the way, everybody watching, this is Late Night Hip Hop Live with me, Bruce Lively.
And I'm D-Boy Slim.
And we talk about hip hop and the world around it. We have another show called Hip Hop Debates. The Basement Debates, excuse me. That's where we go head to head. We're bringing that back. Freestyle Fridays is coming back, people. We brand new, but for us, you know, we bringing that. I already got a couple artists that are ready. D-Boy Slim, when you ready. I got a couple.
Okay.
I got a couple artists that's ready, and we're gonna make it happen. Anyway, you're watching Late Night Hip Hop Live. I'm Bruce Lively. He's talking to D-Boy Slim, and we're talking about YFN Lucci arrested. What was he arrested for, D-Boy?
Well, he's been arrested several times in about the last 30 days. This last time, they actually indicted him on RICO charges. Him and whoever he's affiliated, him and his affiliates or him and his gang have been hit with 105 counts and hit with the RICO indictment. So yeah, those are pretty serious charges.
Whoa!
But it leads us into a bigger topic and a bigger issue within our community, within our culture. You want to let them know what that is, bro?
I'm gonna turn off this music. One of the problems I see is, who else we talking about? NBA Youngboy. Who else we talking about? Bobby Shmurda.
NBA Youngboy. You got Casanova that just got indicted on gang charges.
Let's talk about the fact that the RICO charges. This is something brought up in the 1930s, late 30s, or 40s, early 30s, after the 20s, early 30s, to stop gangs. And in 2021, we looking like monkeys that we haven't found the internet or haven't found the merch sales, as you said earlier, I'm sure you're going to allude to. Black people, rappers, the urban community, black people, I'm talking to you. White people who are watching this, just listen for a minute. Understand who I'm talking to. It's not 1988. Why are we still in gangs? Where's the money in this? We're laughing at you. They're laughing at you. You get some money, you have no investment, but you're yelling gang, gang. For what? What are we ganging for? Who are we riding on? For what is the reason that the world has opened to us? The entire world, from politics to markets to Bitcoin to the internet to YouTube, clothing is open to us. How are we getting hit with RICO charges in 2021? How come the only people getting paid are the people who own the jails, privately owned? What's the deal? The library is free. And I know that we're impoverished. I know you maybe come from a place that not everything is given to you, and nobody told you this, that you can make money online faster than you can wearing a rag and running around. Because it's not 1988 anymore. The purpose for the gangs are gone. There's no more purpose for the gangs except for them to lock you up and make money off of your black booty. That's it. I will go more into depth about that. But have you anything to say, sir?
I got several points. Here's the thing that's sad to look at, and we must.
You can run a business from the library, man. It's free. Internet exists. I'm sorry.
We must remember what hip hop was created for, right? And so, you know, when you see this issue, it's very sad because, as Bruce just mentioned, gangs are nothing new. Gang life is not anything new. This stuff wasn't just created 5 or 10 years ago. Gang life in itself probably is going in this country. Black gang life is, you know, and we're speaking to a Chicago alumni right now, as you're looking at your screen, and this is where black gangs, as we know it, were created in Chicago.
Allow me. Many people have never seen this before. Okay, understand what it is. If you know what I'm talking about, I've been there. What I'm telling you is it's not 1988 anymore. All of you observe, all of you people who are observative, all of you people who understood what just happened, what I just did, understand I've been there before. The library is free, man. The money that is being made now, we don't have to do this. Now we're just being led like cattle into making money for them. What are we doing? Sorry.
So like I was saying, we must remember what hip hop was created for in the first place. You see, for most people, when you credit hip hop and its origins and its beginning, it's usually credited to the South Bronx and the guys that were doing their things, having park jams and partying in the park or whatever, and outside in the Bronx River, and you know, the projects in the Bronx, in the South Bronx. I said that to say there were gangs in the mid to late 70s in New York City, in the Bronx, right? And some of these gangs, you know, the Zulu Nation, they were comprised of, they were put together from gangs. Like these, you know, let me just shorten this up.
Yeah, come on, let's get into it.
Hip hop and the streets have always been married.
Yes.
The earliest origins of hip hop, as you will find out, it comes from the streets. Yep. So I just said that to say that this lifestyle, the culture of the streets, the culture of street life, the culture of gang, the gang culture, there's nothing new about that. What is new, however, is that rappers are making it out of their respective hoods, out of their respective neighborhoods, make it out of circumstances that otherwise wouldn't afford them to be able to make it out of those circumstances. And it's at that time when I think, you know, you feel like, okay, I beat the system, or I made it out, or whatever the case. And your thing is to show everybody, or the exhibit, or the showcase, how much you're still affiliated with that neighborhood, or how much you still have ties to that gang, right? That seems to be what the trend, what the fashion, or what our culture, where our culture is at right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to, well, I can speak for myself. I'm just here to tell you, you're being targeted. I mean, it's clear as day. I can't put it any other layman's terms. I hate to sound like the old preacher guy or whatever, and please believe when Bruce says that he's a Chicagoan. He's lived in Chicago around the gangs. He was amongst the gangs. My name is D-Boy Slim. I've indulged in street life. I know what it's all about, top to bottom. And if at any time you're afforded the opportunity to change your circumstances, to live better, to have a better quality of life, then simple logic, simple common sense would tell you, you take that opportunity. And like I said, it's a fine line from when you make it and then you rap about, or you move in, or you on camera talking about these neighborhood ties and these gang affiliations. I'm telling you, it's a fine line, because again, you're making yourself a target. I really can't put it in any layman's I can't put it in any layman term. You're making yourself a target. If you don't believe me, ask Casanova, who was signed under Memphis Bleak, but for all intents and purposes, he was right. He's in the same rooms with Jay-Z and Beyonce. Like he's under Rock Nation. There's no way in the world you should be getting indicted for gang charges. Like there's no way in the world. Who did we just say? Lucci. Lucci has hit records with the Migos, with several artists out of Atlanta. Successful hit records on the radio. There's no way that you should be getting pulled in for RICO indictment. I mean, it's hard to fathom, and like I said, easier said than done, maybe.
No. That it's not 1988 anymore. Pause. You said a whole mouthful. Let me respond to some of that. But go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Finish it. Okay, let me respond to some of that.
I was just going to wrap it up and say, at what point is it more important to get the bag, provide for your family, and say, you know what, I made it out, as opposed to you saying, I'm big dog, I'm king such and such, I'm top rank in this set of the game, or I'm smoking on the Bobby Loke pack, or at what point is it more important just to get your bag and say, you know what, I lived that life and I move forward, like, because like I said, ask Bobby Smurda. Bobby Smurda is just coming home from the same type of conspiracy and gang charges. Like, they're not playing with dudes, especially if you're running around yelling at your gang, especially if you're running around like that. So go ahead, Bruce. But yeah, that's one of the points I wanted to bring home. Like, we're being targeted. I mean, it's sad to watch our young brothers make it to a certain level and then get torn down by neighborhood politics, neighborhood nonsense. So, well, go ahead.
Number one, in order to make it in today's music industry, you have to have a working knowledge of social media, a working knowledge of licensing, distribution, a working knowledge of marketing, and your way around a studio. 4 things: licensing and distribution, the studio, social media, and marketing, which are tied together. You're wondering, where am I going with this? You are not a dummy on where the income streams come from. If you've made it in music today, the labels all know, you know, they only pick you up if you've already got a certain amount of following. What I'm saying is, if you're in a gang already, you know that you make more money online than you ever did in the gang. I don't care how much you sold. The only reason you're still there now is because that gives you some sort of clout or feel-good sensation that, yeah, I am the nigger that they want me to be. And now I won't get monetized for this video. Maybe I'll be able to click it out. That's the only reason right now. You don't make it at all in the music industry today, and I know this for a fact, unless you have an understanding of those four things, which means by time you got on, by time 100,000 people know your name, YBN, NBA, it's only because you've utilized those platforms to make money and marketing decisions that work toward your better end. The only reason you're in a gang getting RICO charges is because you don't care about anything else but the look and the lifestyle, and I don't know why anymore. There's so much better ways to make money. It's not about the money. You're making that money and you're flipping it online. Tell me I'm wrong. What does that say?
Have you not learned anything from Tekashi and the 9 Trey situation? I mean, are we not watching what's going on? Like, it doesn't end well. It doesn't end well. It doesn't end well. I mean, it's cool for a minute to yell gang, gang, and who was he yelling? Treyway and whatever set that you claim in whatever neighborhood. Again, like I said, these are, and let me say this too, because I don't want you young viewers thinking that we're naive or what's going on. As far as the East, I can't speak for West Coast gangs and their history and their heritage and traditions. And I really can't speak for the Midwest as far as Chicago gangs. And like I said, I am knowledgeable enough to know that they were the first one to start it as far as black gangs or black gang banging, rather. I do make that distinction because they were black gangsters way before gang banging started in Chicago.
Gang banging, but and we can go into that if you want to, how that started.
Yeah.
If we want to go into the
East Coast
corner
gang,
hustlers,
which seems to be fashionable and trendy right now. Predominantly blood. You predominantly see blood gangs all up and down the East Coast. Let me just say this about this. East Coast gang banging, New York, as I have on my shirt, that brand of gang banging started behind the wall. It started behind the G wall. It started as a prison gang. So, to me, its structure, its design, its foundation was built for just that, behind the wall.
Exactly.
Behind the G wall. Now, if you're in a situation and you find yourself in prison and you're being oppressed by Latinos or the Aryan Nation or whatever gang there may be, and you find it logical to unite with, brothers under one banner or whatever the case, I could understand that. There's logic to that. As it pertains to the streets, again, what made the East Coast different than its cousins and brothers on the West Coast and in the Midwest, because the East Coast, New York preferably, always had gangsters. This is why I made that distinction. It wasn't gang banging, but they always had gangsters. If you go back to the 20s and 30s, the Lucianos, the Al Capones of the world, when they were organized gangsters with the Italians and the Irish, Black people were gangsters in those times. I said that to say on the East Coast, not being seen and not being heard was that of which a gangster moved. And getting your money was number one, not clout chasing, not saying whose enemy got smoked and you're smoking a bag of your enemy. Like, it's gotten so far, it's kind of over my head. And I will say this. The culture, and when I say the culture, meaning hip hop, has followed Chicago's lead. If you pay attention to hip hop, every era has its time where a different section is kind of dominating the culture at a point in time. Case in point, in the 90s, you had a lot of West Coast. And everybody was jacking the Crips and the Bloods and what was going on out there. And they coined the phrase gangster rap and this, that, and the third. And at the time, on top of a Dr. Dre beat, on top of a DJ Quick beat, on top those melodic beats, it sounded good, the lifestyle that they were painting. Although a lot of those who rapped about the lifestyle never even lived it. But at the time, we knew what was going on in Compton and South Central LA and Watts. We heard about it, we seen it on the movies, and as it, translated to the music, it was good music. There were a lot of killings and things going on behind the scenes in the streets. But I said that to say that was their time. The East Coast obviously had their time with the Biggies, the Wu-Tangs, and like I said, that lifestyle was always there. It was showcased different. When Wu-Tang had it, they would gun slinging, dope selling dudes out the projects, but they preached knowledge. They preached being God body. So there was a different message being put out. There was a different message being put out. As it stands now, with, like I said, to me, in my eyes, the culture following Chicago's lead, and everybody jacking that style of music, the drill style, just straight up telling you in your raps who got knocked off, what gang is up, it's up the score, what hood did it, what block did it, and how much disrespectful after you body somebody or murder somebody, how much more disrespectful you can get. Meaning you got guys rapping about pissing on graves. You got guys rapping about how they smoking somebody that's already dead. Like it's nasty. I'm gonna say that as an elder of the culture, like it's nasty. Like it's never before have I seen it like this. Like and again, our youth. This again, if we're going to give Chicago the credit, then we have to give them have them take accountability and responsibility for some of this as well. Like it's out of control. I don't know whose big homies, whose OGs are advising this, and it brings light to another issue because you got police that hasn't stopped the parade on killing black people, hasn't stopped the manhunt on killing young black youth for apparently no reason at times. And I never see the gangs outside then. The most popular term right now is I'm outside. I'm thorough. I'm out there. I'm always out there. And somehow when these atrocities happen in our community, amongst our young people, amongst our young black people, innocent black people at that, I thought the whole purpose of having a gang in the community was to stand up for for things like that. Well, it's funny because unless you're smoking on Pookie Loke or unless you're smoking on the Duck Pack or the Mouth Little, whoever the latest kid that got killed up there, you never see the gangs come outside and stand and keep it tall for that. Like you never see the gangs keep it tall for those issues. So it's like my partner said, like Bruce said, what is the purpose then? What is now the purpose? I mean, just to kill each other and brag about how you pissing on their grave? I mean, it's nasty. And like I said, above everything else, you're making yourself hot. You're making us look silly as a people, but you're making yourself hot with targeting. You're being targeted. You're being targeted. It's hip hop police. There's all type of resources been put to the side just to catch you and your friends, just to be able to indict, lock up you and your friends. Like this is what's going on right now.
Let me tell you something. Everybody who just heard everything that you just said has now become a little bit smarter on the history and reasons why. History of hip hop and the streets and the reasons why it was what it was. Why you would hear raps about certain things. Even in Chicago with the drill music, unbeknownst to other people, when someone's rapping about what block did this and who got shot and who got the upper hand, That is their daily life. And so when Van Gogh gets to paint the stars and the moon, because that's his daily life, that's what he's looking at, understand that the street Van Goghs are going to talk about what they're looking at every day. The problem is now not just that. That is for real, true and gone. That's why I said it's not 1988 anymore. In 2000, what we have is an oligarchy in the music industry. You see, if it was the fact that only the people from Chicago was talking about those who got killed or who got the upper hand because that was their daily life, but when they clicked on the same YouTube that they uploaded their video to, back then, this is even 5 years ago. It was before Gregory was born. The Universal Music Group owns 30%. Okay? Warner Music Group owns 20%, and 2 other music groups own the rest. Every single song that we hear getting big, that we hear on the radio, or that gets pushed, is pushed by someone who doesn't look like you. So if you can imagine, if we had just as many Commons, just as many Sabas, just as many Mick Jenkins out as there were 21 Savages and gangs, all of a sudden you would be able to see a difference in the spectrum of music. Maybe you might hit the library. Maybe you might hear a jewel as a 16-year-old on how to get your own business started online. That'll make you way more money than you ever could in a gang. That's in 2021. It's so far-fetched. It's so old and antiquated, the idea of a gang. Like I said, the RICO laws have been around since 1929 or so, because they didn't have an internet back then. If you're still getting caught up on RICO laws now, it's because they want you to, and you want to be. It's a marriage of ignorance and money. The people who own the prisons are hoping that you continue yelling gang, gang after you're a millionaire, so all the other people can get involved. They're hoping that you think your gang affiliation is worth more than the actual money you're making when you're doing marketing, sales, social media presence, and all the things you have to do to make it in the first place. Your gang is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. But that's the music that gets pushed. That's the music that everybody thinks is cool, because the four owners of all music that you're listening to are 4 people in suits that don't look like you and think that what you're saying is funny, is what we thought they were. It appeals to the lowest common denominator. And I'm not saying that you don't deserve a chance to say your words or your voice or your surroundings, just like Van Gogh did. But the other side of that is there's not enough of everybody else's life, because black people have been coming out of poverty as fast as they've been getting into gangs, and those rappers that can tour around the world, you still don't know the name of. Have you wondered why? Have you wondered why? Do you think all black people come from the ghetto? All black people are in gangs? No. The entirety of the black experience is being put out in our music. But the ones who own the music have nothing to do with it, and so they don't know the difference. That's why this is happening. That's why I'm so upset. That's why it's hard to keep my voice at an even keel. On the other hand, if you still think operating like the 1920s makes you gangster, while you're missing out on the free money at the library, which is free to go to, start a website, and sell a hat. You will make more money in 5 years if you went to the library and started a free business than you would if you were in a gang. More than likely. I'm very honest with you. And the fact that we're the only ones that can't figure that out is simply because we're pushed something else constantly. I have nothing more to say. I hope somebody has gained from that. I hope somebody understands what it is that I'm saying. And I hope that the people who think that, well, they're just telling their life, understand that for the most part, they're not just telling their life. Even if it is their life, they're purposefully telling that part of their life. Because as I said before, in order to make it in music today, you have to have understanding of the 4 things: marketing, social media, your way around the studio, and who cares what else? Marshaling social media is what I'm talking about. You understand how to use these things to make money. And I guarantee you, YFN Lucci, NBA Youngboy, all of them have made more money from the internet than they ever made when they was in a gang. Yet they still call it out because we want to hear it, because we think that's what makes them cool, because that's what makes them good. They were out, people. And they have the feeling like they have to present themselves like they're back in order to make $1. It's sick. It's disgusting. And they're laughing at us. The last white gang I saw was the one that rushed the Capitol building. That's it. And they're all broken in jail. You know where they are? They're in Congress. You know where the KKK went? They're in suits. They own your business. They're your boss. Because they realize that the old way of doing, you know where the old Italian gangsters are? They're behind your trumps. And you never heard their name. Because you can't operate on 1820 laws and black and white TV and cowboy and gangster bull anymore if you actually think you're doing something or making something or producing anything that's worth value in the 2021 world. Go to the library. Start a business. You don't know how to? At the library, there's books on how to as well. That'll make more money in 5 years than anything you can do stepping outside of your doorstep and trying a thing that was started in prison. I'm done. That's not gangster. If you looked at the title of this and you clicked on to see what we had to say, that's what we had to say. That's not gangster. Gangsters in the 1920s did what they had to do to create a lifestyle of comfort and accommodation for their family and their friends. The code word gangster now is something that is used on a track to make you stupid and allows 105 people to get caught up in a RICO law that was made 100 years ago for them. Am I wrong or am I right, man?
Actually, the RICO law I don't think is that old. The RICO law was made maybe 40 years ago, maybe. And it was used and it was implemented because gangsters were getting around, and when I say gangsters, meaning Italian mobsters, because they were so organized in what they did, they were getting around the simple legalities of the law, and the real bosses were insulated because they were the ones calling the shots. And while their soldiers did time and got out, in the whole movement and the whole operation continued. So I do want to correct you there. Those RICO laws just came into effect maybe over the last 40 years because the gangsters of the 20s and the 30s, the bootlegging era, the heroin era in the 50s and the 60s, those mobsters were running wild and running circles around.
Yep.
They had to implement something that would take the whole entire gang and the whole entire mob down when those charges and indictments came down.
Okay,
but
so
that's all.
no, you're 100% right. And I'm looking this up here. So it was 1970 when
that's a fact. I said about 40.
Yeah,
I said about 40 years.
So
I just happen to know my history, but that's neither here nor there. It doesn't take away.
But more importantly, it was to combat something that had been going on from the 20s when they made the FBI. And people decided that Hoover decided that we needed a special group of people to come up with something to get rid of these gangsters.
Which
that's what they ended up coming up with 30 years later. So you're right.
And in the 30s, you were good. You had the right of way. The mobsters and the gangsters were winning. They were running circles around the law. If you were that gangster and your nuts was that big, you could run circles around the law.
Right.
However, over the last 40 years, they found it a little more challenging to do those same to manage those same operation and schemes and hustles. But it doesn't take away from what you were saying, bro. I'm just gonna say this. I
appreciate that too, because that's important. But since the 1970s,
because I never want to mislead our viewers, and I know tomorrow in the comments and all of that, they'll be killing you. Those guys that go and research and things like that, they'll be killing you, saying,
which I love.
Rico didn't start this and that, but no, we're knowledgeable of it, and it was to a bigger point. And this is what I'm going to say. One, we're not here to tell you what to do with your life. Hopefully you make smart and intelligent decisions that lead you into prosperous, situations for your family and afford you, endless opportunities, and, sky's the limit. It's America. You should be able to do what you want. What Bruce is saying simply is that a lot of the antics, a lot of the behavior that we glorify, a lot of the the lifestyle that we, some people deem as cool, is not actually necessary to live the lifestyle that you may want to live. I mean, simply, the lifestyle that you want, the lifestyle that you see these guys living on TV, this, that, and the third. In this day and time, and this is why I said that your point was well made, Bruce, whether it was 1970 or 1940, your point was well made, because it's just not necessary any longer.
And that's why I love you, bro. There is no other way that I think anybody could have said it to make it more succinct. All of my diatribe and all of my talking was not as succinct as that. It's not necessary to do those things anymore in order to live the lifestyle that you think you want. That's all I was trying to say. The best way I've ever heard it. Your point
was well made, and that's why we're partnering. Here's my thing: if you want to be a gangster, go be a gangster. And I mean, I can't put it any more plain. No, I'm not advocating the lifestyle. I'm not advocating that you go out and kill anybody or do anything illicit or illegal. But if you find yourself needing to live that lifestyle or wanting, to live that lifestyle, then live it out. Go, by all means, live it out, sir. But understand, like, if you are afforded the opportunity to go a different route, if you are talented and gifted enough, as Bruce just pointed out, to have those things down packed, as he just mentioned, those four skill set, those four things in the skill set down packed, then please use that, execute that. Because ask Shotty, ask Tekashi even. It's not all as cracked up to be. It doesn't end well. Ask Bobby Smurder. I mean, it seems cool, like, oh, he's come home, he kept a gangster, he didn't. But ask him if he could do it again and get those 6-7 years back out his life, would he? Understand, it's not a game, man. It's not a game, and I say that to say, like, if you have a gift, if you're into music, keep it music. Keep it music. Sure, don't forget about your homeboys and the ones that want to do something and change their life. If you're in a position where you can help change their life and give them a different opportunity, sure, by all means. But don't have them drag you, or don't be so consumed in what your old life was that you lose sight of what's in front of you, or you lose sight of what the goal really is. And that's to change it. That's to change your environment. That's to change your surroundings. If you're of that lifestyle. Now, if you're pretending to be of that lifestyle, or you're pretending to be from somewhere you're not, that's on you. You're going to get what you got coming and soon enough. But you know, if you are of that lifestyle and you like, I'm just keeping it how I always kept it. Keep it music. I'm to ask Rollo. You know, free these guys while I'm mentioning them. NBA YoungBoy. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on, but it's not fun. It's not fun. It's not fun. And if you have the opportunity, and these are guys, like I said, they were around the Futures. They was around the T.I. They was around the biggest guys that you know, like, but still with one foot still in the street. But still with one foot in the street. All I'm saying is be smart. Be smart, people. That's so, you know, keep it music. Move accordingly. There's people watching you. You're being targeted. And as far as the whole lifestyle is concerned, as Bruce was saying, it's not even a thing anymore.
It's not a thing
anymore. Chicago has made it a fad, but let's take a bigger look at the picture.
Even that's not a thing anymore.
Take a deeper look at the picture.
Wait. Go ahead and say that one quick second. That's not even a thing anymore, because what's happening there is the school's getting closed down. There's no more jobs, and people are just fighting on every corner for themselves. The real gangs don't even exist like that. Go ahead. Bigger picture.
The bigger picture is Kanye West wasn't a gangster rapper.
Facts.
He's up $5 billion right now. Not 5 million, 5 billion. J. Cole is not a gangster rapper. Kendrick Lamar is not a gangster rapper. And neither is Drake. I said that to say some of the most successful rappers that's of this time, that's of modern time, not yesterday, not in the 90s, but right now, which is what Bruce was trying to say ultimately, they're not even rapping that lifestyle. They're not even rapping about that lifestyle. Sure, some of them come from it, some of them, but they don't even choose to even rap about that anymore. They don't, and I applaud that. I applaud that because it lets you know somewhere someone breeded leaders. That's called being a leader and not a follower.
Why don't you ask?
I mean, sometimes we have to take it back to high school and elementary and elementary terms, but you know, it's just simply being a leader and not a follower. The gangs, you know, the most hardest guy that these guys that you guys admire in the gang, they're gonna tell you the same thing. I promise you. The hardest, toughest guys that's done 25, 30 years, they're gonna say, my man, you really you really trying to go there? You really trying to go down that path?
I'll say
I got and the hardest guys are gonna tell you, I got stabbed, shot, and did 20 years so that you wouldn't have to.
Right.
So that you wouldn't have to.
I'm gonna say this to end that, to piggyback that point. Listen up, people. I understand it. I've been through it. I've been a part of it. Okay? And I can tell you for 100% sure that even when I was doing it, there was no internet, and everybody had a block for themselves, because that's basically how logistics worked of making money in a place where Crook County kept a nice what do you call that, funnel of where money could go. So you had to defend yourself and keep your block up. All of that stuff sounds really good. I can tell you right now that even back then, the goal and the idea and what I learned from my heads and the things that I was supposed to uphold, even though half of it is still just about making money, was if we were trying to move on back then. Folks gang, people. GDs, people. Yes. Let me just say it plainly. Even back then, we were trying to find a way to venture out, to branch out, to become legitimate, to become an organization. We didn't want to be called a gang anymore. That was brought down from the top. I got the memo from the top about that. This is 1980-something, 90-something, maybe 92. Couple years right before I moved where I'm at now. And no, I don't think that anything that I did back then was worth what I thought it was. I was young and stupid, but I can even tell you, even back then, the memos and the knowledge and the things that you were supposed to be learning was, how can we make it to the next level? Who's going to go here? Who's doing sports? Who's doing sports money? Who's doing politics? Who's doing politics money? Who's paying off the people on top of the jails? Where's the warden coming from? Who's getting in kites in? Who's taking kites out? This is things that mattered. It was about getting the bag. It was about, even if only superficially, becoming more, getting better, getting bigger, control of the world if you could. This isn't it. This ain't it. This ain't it. Completely contradictory to everything they were trying to do when they started the gang that you're now a part of. Because you've been convinced by people who don't look like you that that's exactly what the monkey does. And you're willing to take the $5 over the $5 million to look like a monkey, rather than act according to the principles you supposedly believe in. My ending was that. And if between both of us you don't understand it, we can't help you.
Pretty much. And this is the bottom line. All we really trying to say is live. Live, young people. Live.
Choose life.
Family. Live for your parents. Live for your mom. Live for your kids. Live for your loved ones. It's people that love you out here. Live. And if you don't have anybody to live for yourself. Live for yourself. Stop going to prison. They're winning. They win when that happens.
You're already targeted just by driving black, talking black, walking your dog while black, bird watching while black, going to Chick-fil-A while black, going into the dog park while black. Playing with a toy gun.
Playing with them to make us look like clowns.
Playing with a toy gun while black.
A gangster knows what he signs up for. Whether it is prison or the graveyard, a gangster knows what he signs up for. But like I said, if you're afforded the opportunity to do something different, do that. Do that by all means. And like I said, live. The object is to stay out of prison. So you have to move accordingly, and it has to be that important. Just as important it is for you to say I'm this trade, a 9 trade, or I'm 7-4 GD, or I'm rolling 60. Just as important as it is for you to it's important to stay out of prison. It's matter of fact, it's more important. It's more important to stay out of prison. I'm telling you, it's more important.
It's definitely more important. Because what you just told him was that there are people who don't say that who are making millions. And close to billions. I don't know if you understand that Eazy-E is dead. Dr. Dre, who was never in a gang and never did any of that stuff, is alive and a billionaire. Snoop Dogg made more money after he decided not to be a gangster than he ever did when he was. Ice Cube made more money after he decided not to be a gangster than he ever did when he supposedly was. 21 Savage just came out with an interview when when he came here from England, did the gang thing, realized that when he could make money outside of that, has decided never to go back again because he realized the skills that he's learned to be a musician in today's world, you don't need it anymore. My man D-Boy Slim just said, it's not necessary to live the lifestyle that you pine after and are looking after and are reaching for. It's not necessary to do that anymore to make it. You can do it from your library at 16. Free. Of cost. My people, free. And with that being said, understand that your boy DMX does have a posthumous album coming out. Exodus. We just heard that from I think he said he put it out.
I checked that. Swiss has been bragging about it. Swiss Beats has been bragging about it, saying it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Definitely got to check that out.
I don't know if I saw that he actually said he just put it out. It was literally today that this just came out. Like, either he just put it out or gave a date for when it would be out. But we're going to have to check that out. You already know. URL. We didn't catch that battle. Don't even look on Patreon for it. What you are going to see on Patreon is the live version of this, what you don't see beforehand, all the jokes and all the stuff that we do before we start this show is recorded. But they had the female versus men, king versus queens thing again, and I heard it was pretty dope. We didn't get to watch it, so we'll have some commentary on that. Maybe tomorrow, or maybe we'll record it and put out a debate style thing sometime this week. Stay tuned, people. We got those two things at least to talk about. Oh, what's the next URL thing that you was talking about, D-Boy?
Been a lot of whispers about what the next battle, who's having the next big battle. I've been hearing Mook's name been tossed around a lot lately. It's been a lot of talks about Geechee and Mook. That's being tossed around. We definitely get back and keep y'all in tune with that. But that seems to be the latest whispers in the battle world.
Can you imagine?
Geechee and Mook.
Geechee versus Mook. The utmost in disrespect. Gangsta, hoorah, versus the intellectual, which I consider Mook the intellectual.
For all intents and purposes, the king of Smack back then, or the Smack DVDs back then, and
against the new guy.
Kind of the face of URL. I won't say the face of URL, but who's been, getting busy, championship belts and all of that now with Geechee Gotti and URL now where it's at. So could make for an interesting battle. Dope battle. Not the battle that me and Bruce requested, but still in all could be a dope battle.
Right. It'll work. That's what's up, people. Freestyle Friday is coming up sooner than you think. We're going to have it. I don't know if we're going to do it live or tape it, but if you are an artist, it's time. We already have 2 artists that are ready. We're working on the place to actually do it and a small crew to do the video. So if you want to help out in that, join us on Patreon. Help us produce this actual realistic hip hop and not the fake stuff. The stuff that we've just railed against. Join us on Patreon. We're trying to get a little crew together, people to videotape this. Gonna be live instruments. And if you are a rapper coming up, Team Box Cutter, CUTTA @gmail.com. Let us know that you want to be a part of the Freestyle Fridays. It's gonna be tiers. It's gonna be prizes. It's gonna be free studio time. We're doing this, and it's battle, head-to-head battle over live music. We're working on it. It's coming soon. If you are an up-and-coming artist and you want to be a part of it, I just told you where to go. Any last words, D-Boy?
Hip Hop Debates. Press that subscribe. Hit the like button. Whoa, we got plenty of dope shows coming, like Bruce just mentioned. Freestyle Friday, we letting you know what's going on in the battle world. And we staying on top of this hip hop thing, on all levels, and y'all keep doing your thing out there. Like I said, we as the elders of the culture felt it necessary to speak on the topic that we spoke on. But I'm loving what's going on. I'm loving hip hop and where it's at. All y'all keep doing your thing. Shout out to everybody that's doing their thing. All the podcasters, all the YouTubers. Shout out. We out of here.
We out. Can't leave without TBCB, man. Without Team Box Cutter Beat. Come on.